Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Samantha. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you and your loved ones are well. So I'm really excited about today's video. I'm going to show you how to make beetroot powder. Now, you may be wondering why on earth I'm even talking about beetroots. So beetroots are one of those few foods which are considered to be superfoods, and that's because they are packed, absolutely loaded with minerals and vitamins, and they have so many health benefits. So they are fantastic for hair growth because they've got minerals and vitamins which can help to strengthen the hair follicles, and I'll explain more of the hair benefits further down the line, so please do keep watching the video. But they have amazing benefits for other organs in the body, and that's why they are considered to be superfoods. Now, beetroot stain, so we're going to need a pair of gloves just to prevent our hands and nails from getting stained, and then we're going to need a potato peeler because I'm going to peel them, and then we're also going to need a grater. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my gloves on so that I can peel the beetroots without staining my hands or my nails. So I'm just going to peel all the beetroots, and then once I've done that, I'll come back and explain the next steps. Okay, so the beetroots are peeled, and now I'm just going to top and tail them, and by that I mean I'm just going to remove the bits at the top and at the bottom because we don't need them. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to get my grater and then I'll grate them. So I'm going to use the big holes of the grater because I don't want them to be too small, and it's a lot quicker anyway if you do it this way. So I'm just going to grate them all, and then once I've done that, I'll come back and explain the next step. So once I've finished grating the beetroots, I'm just going to lay them out, and I do want to lay them out very thinly over the surface of this aluminium foil. I'm using aluminium foil, but you can use anything that you've got to hand. Even a baking sheet will work, or even a plastic tray that will still work as well. And it's important to lay it out flat. So I ended up using 2 bits of aluminium foil. The reason you want to lay it out very thinly is because beetroots have a lot of juice, so they've got a lot of moisture, and we want to air dry them. And if you're not laying them out thinly, then they could easily get rotten and they won't dry as quickly. So the thinner the layer, the faster they will dry, and the less likely that they will go off or get rotten. So the next day you'll see that the color has changed from that beautiful, gorgeous, deep red wine color to this darker red, and because of that moisture that I talked about, they will stick to the surface. It might be less so if you're using a baking sheet, but the important thing is to basically scrape them off and turn them over. So you want to try and basically shift them around so that they're not sticking to the paper or the surface that you're using. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to retrieve them, after they've dried. So just shift them about, scrape them off, and then spread them out thinly again. And I would advise that you do this every other day because we're going to actually leave them to dry out completely. Obviously, how long it takes for the beetroots to dry depends on your ambient temperature, so the weather, your season, where you live. If you live in a very hot climate, then they're going to dry out very quickly. But where I live, it isn't that hot, even though we're in spring. So it actually took me about a week, almost a week, for the beetroots to actually get dry. But here they are now, they're completely dry. There's absolutely no moisture there. And now it's time for us to actually turn them into a powder. So I'm using my blender to turn the beetroots into a powder, but if you've got a coffee grinder, that's going to give you a really beautiful fine powder. But a blender is just as good. It's going to give you a really good powder, and that's what I'm using. So I'm just popping all the beetroots into the blender, and then I'm just going to blend them for about 2 to 3 minutes. How long you blend for really depends on, one, how powerful your blender is, and two, how fine you want your powder to be. So I don't necessarily need mine to be very fine, so blitzing it for 2-3 minutes is more than enough. Unfortunately, my little blender is quite unpredictable when it comes to making a powder. So what I find helpful is actually just to sift the powder, and then the finer powder will go into the bowl, and then the bigger pieces which still remain in the sieve, I just pop them back into the blender and then blend again. Obviously, if you're using a coffee grinder or a more powerful blender, then you probably don't need to do the sifting at all. I'm just using a regular sieve, but if you want a very fine powder, the other thing you can do is use a tea strainer, so that the powder that comes through will be very fine. So while I'm finishing that off, I'm just going to share with you some of the hair benefits of beetroots, so that you can understand why I'm really excited about incorporating beetroots into my regimen or my routine. So beetroots, they have high levels of vitamins and minerals, and we are talking about lots of vitamins. So things like vitamin A, vitamin C, iron, folate, nitrate, magnesium, phosphorus, calcium, thiamine, riboflavin, vitamin B6, copper, and selenium. And all of these are essential for hair growth, but also they help to strengthen their hair follicles and prevent hair shedding. So this is why they're going to be amazing. So they also have the nitrates, which I mentioned, and the nitrates actually help to stimulate scalp circulation. And for that reason, they've actually been compared to minoxidil. And some people will say using beetroot is just as good as using minoxidil, so you can use it as a substitute of minoxidil. We've talked about rosemary as being an alternative to minoxidil, but now we also have beetroot as an alternative to minoxidil. So definitely add this to your list of things to incorporate into your diet or into your DIY recipes. And just like that, here is our beautiful powder. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? The color is just stunning. So the reason why my powder has retained this beautiful color is because I dried it away from sunshine. So direct sunlight will turn this into a dark brown color, even a black color. So the best thing to do is to lay it out away from direct sunlight, as I showed you earlier. So now I'm just going to pop this in my jar where I'll be storing it, and it's important for it to be airtight so that it can keep for longer. So since there's absolutely no moisture in our powder, this will last for about 6 months with no problems. But if you want to extend the shelf life beyond the 6 months, then I recommend you add something like powdered citric acid as your preservative so that it lasts longer. But I'm going to be using mine up very soon, so I'm not even going to bother with a preservative. So it's very versatile. Beetroot, yes, the best way obviously is always to ingest your vitamins. So taking your beetroot by mouth is going to be the best way to get the benefits. But if you don't like the taste of beetroot, if it's not your thing, you can still get the benefits by using it topically. And I'm going to be showing you lots of wonderful DIY recipes that will help your hair to grow without you having to eat the beetroots if you don't want to. But you could use the DIY recipes and also ingest them so that you get double the benefits. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you found it useful and interesting, and I hope you do make it. Before I go, I would like to thank my subscribers, because this love and support you give me, I really appreciate it. It means the world to me, and I want you to know that I appreciate you. I also want to thank everybody who engages with the content, so thank you so much. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, then please subscribe, and I'd also really appreciate it if you give the video a thumbs up, because that helps to boost my channel in so many ways. It's very supportive if you do that. And if you want to be one of the first to know when I have a new video, just sign up for notifications. So until next time, take care, my lovelies, and take care of your loved ones. Bye for now.